Hi, this is Rochester City Councilman Michael Wojcik, and I'm putting this video up to ask you to support my 2016 re-election campaign, either financially or as a volunteer, and also tell you a little bit about my background. I'll be posting some other videos about some things we've been able to do as a community the last 7 years, and also some things I'd like to see us do better going forward. But in the short run, if you'd like to make a contribution to this campaign, go to votewojak.org and click on the Donate Now button in the upper right-hand corner, or else you can write a check out to Wojak for Rochester at 984 Fox Knoll Drive Southwest, Rochester, Minnesota, 55902. And if you do either of those things, if we receive that by December 31st, I'll be able to put that in my end of the year finance report, and that would be very much appreciated. A little bit about the campaign and why I'm starting out right now. You wouldn't think you'd have the kind of animosity that we sometimes see in city council races in this community, but I had a very maddening experience last time for a couple of reasons. The first of which is my intention had been to just wait until I had an opponent who filed a campaign finance disclosure, which is required when you either raise or spend $750. Unfortunately, the person I ran against last time spent way more money than that and went ahead and started the campaign, so I was caught a little bit off guard. I'm certainly not going to make the mistake of assuming that some of the good old boys downtown are interested in obeying the law. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Second thing is, many of you know that as part of the campaign last year, I had a couple of neighbors, in 2012, I had a couple of neighbors who decided they were going to sue me over my solar panels, and the good news about that is that we won everything in a court of law. I mean, it went all the way to trial, but of course, because we were on the right side of the law, we won absolutely everything. But it didn't change the fact that it was a very frustrating experience for my family, and to find out, after the fact that my previous opponent had actually been receiving emails from the neighborhood association where he was aware that they were suing me even before I was aware of it, which is just insane if you stop and think about that for a second. So bottom line is, even though it's a city council race, don't expect that it's necessarily going to be a clean race. There are plenty of people downtown who would really like to stick it to me, because the bottom line is if anyone in this community is going to have my ear just as much as some of the well-connected people downtown. And there are some well-connected people downtown who don't much appreciate that. They like keeping their city council members closely under control, and I don't fit that description very well. A little bit about myself. I've been serving as a city council member in Rochester since 2008 and a volunteer in local government since about 2006. Became interested in government. Really a number of things happened, seeing the world change around me, but also seeing a really tragic accident, or at least the aftermaths of it, on West Circle Drive, where a 7-year-old girl lost her life. And I think I carry that with me today, as to the importance of making our street networks and our public spaces safe for users of all ages and abilities. And I wish I could get that out of my head, but I've been carrying it with me for a long time, and I continue to strive to make our city much safer for all kids, to try and avoid tragedies like that. But I am a husband. I'm a father of 2 daughters. My daughters are currently 7 and 4. We're also hosting a foreign exchange student this year. Not a lot of people know that I'm a small business owner. I have a business that provides financial services for churches and nonprofits. One of the interesting things about that is I'm actually the only person on the city council who gets the majority of their income from a small business, and I really care a lot about small businesses, although not in the way that some of the other business organizations would like me to care about the small businesses. But having done my own business now for over 7 years, I appreciate the people that do it, and I think it's an important part of Rochester is being able to be successful with small businesses here. Have a fairly extensive educational background. I have a master's degree in electrical engineering from the University of Minnesota. My undergraduate's from North Dakota. And I also have an MBA from the Carlson School of Management at the University of Minnesota. I've passed a CFA Level 3 exam, which is a finance certification process. Also looking at I do a little bit of teaching on the side. For St. Mary's, I teach some different finance courses there. Kind of a little side income for me, and something I really enjoy doing and learning from the students out there. And I've worked on a lot of continuing education, particularly in areas of finance, technology, community economic development, and a bunch of things to do with local government. The areas that I do real well in and have a pretty good grasp of is government finance. With my finance background, that's something I like, have a lot of interest in. Public utilities, energy, environment, transportation, community development, and of course public arts as well are some areas that I really focus on in my role as a city council member. With my experiences here in the city of Rochester, I've been blessed to have a couple national roles that I've been able to serve on. I was actually served as the national chair of the National League of Cities Community Economic Development Board, also on the National League of Cities Board of Directors. And now I'm also working with ULI on a National Healthy Corridors Task Force based on some of the work that we did in the Uptown area. I've been a Rochester resident since 1999, which for those of you, a lot of you know that means I'm about 2 generations before being accepted as one of us here. And then some of my free time, I don't get a lot. Obviously, I try and spend some time with my girls, but also enjoy travel, backpacking, biking. I like to bicycle around the community as much as possible. Playing soccer, love the arts, and have a little bit of a niche hobby. I really get into craft beer. Obviously, I've been a big supporter of getting the local craft breweries up and running. So why are we starting now? Well, I mentioned some of the concerns we had with the last campaign, but really we want to be prepared. We want to build a new website. We pretty much haven't touched our website since 2013, and it needs a facelift. It needs to be brought up to current standards. And also, it allows me, once we get into campaign season, there's all this noise with all the different elections going on at different levels, and it allows me to take that time and just go in and have one-on-one conversations with people. So I do appreciate your support. If you're willing to make a financial contribution to my campaign, you should know the 2015 campaign limits are $250 per person. Up to $100 can be done anonymously. In 2016, the maximum becomes $600. More importantly, most people can't afford to give money in that range. I don't want anybody to give anything more than they're capable of doing. Make a contribution that's a fair amount. Most people contribute either $25, $50, or $100. But if you can do $250 comfortably, per person in your household, feel free. It does help get the message out. And also, if you can give $5 or $10 and you want to show that you support the campaign, we certainly appreciate that as well. And frankly, if money is tight and you can't, more than anything else, having your voice, having your support, having you as a volunteer on this campaign is very important too. If you're willing to help us in the campaign in 2016, let me know that, because we certainly have rules for a lot of people. It's hard to run a campaign where you've got to reach out, to 20,000 or so people. And more than anything else, thank you for the support these past few years, and we're going to work very hard and try and win re-election in 2016. As always, you can contact me through social media, my website, email, pretty much everything. You can call me, but that's not necessarily the best way to get to me. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope you'll consider helping our campaign.